5 o'clock on a Wednesday, which means it's time for
Craig and Ryland's Magic Review Show.
I'm Craig.
I'm Ryland.
Welcome back to another review show. We have got 4 of the latest and greatest magic tricks that we're going to be looking at this week, including a trick that Ryland's very excited about, but not for the trick, but the prop that you get with it. You're going to find out about that in a second. You're not going to use it as the trick, you're just going to use it as the prop. In fact, we're going to look at that right now, and then we're going to be looking at a whole bunch of other things, including one of the latest tricks from the Darryl Legacy line. But without further ado, let's get straight into this week's show. Okay, so first up, we have Cube Fix, and this is Magic with Rubik's Cubes. It says on the box here, it is by Ale Magix and distributed by My Magic. And what this is, basically, it's a collection of routines with a Rubik's Cube.
Yes.
And it comes with a Rubik's Cube. Now, what's most exciting about this from Ryland's point of view is that he reliably tells me that the cube that comes with this is the best speed cube he's ever played with. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you want to tell people about that cube, first of all?
Yeah, okay. You've got a little prediction there by the looks of it.
Yeah, you have. Don't worry about that. So, tell them about the cube.
Okay, so it's a very nice speed cube. Like
What's so good about it?
Like, you know, I just used it like that.
Yeah.
Like that went 2 times around then.
Yeah.
It just goes really fast. It goes like pretty much all the way around.
And the reason that's useful, in case you guys don't know, right, okay, so if you're doing, like the one move solve, for example, which...
Yeah, you could do the one move solve with this easily.
Like, the point is, even though... Yeah, exactly. With a normal cube, you have to turn it all the way and then turn it all the way again. With this cube, even if it's kind of there, you know, you can still turn it, can't you?
Like,
So
you can do it, like, from the top there.
Yeah.
It's
excellent.
It's a brilliant speed cube.
Okay, so it's a really good speed cube. Unfortunately, and it's a stickless speed cube. Unfortunately,
I like unstickered ones.
I know you do, but unfortunately, the project is not as good as the actual speed cube itself.
No, the speed cube is good. The project is not as good as the actual speed cube.
Okay,
So
how about we put the speed cube down for a minute?
Good, and the project is basically
because if I don't put this in this box, I know what you're going to do. You're going to fiddle with it the entire review. He's super happy about this just for the speed cube that you get with it. But let's talk about the project for a bit. Because here's the thing, it's a collection of fairly uninspiring cube tricks using moves that have been done before without really any crediting. And let me elaborate on this. So for those of you that don't know anything about cube magic, the originator of cube magic was a guy called Takemiz Asui. And Takemiz Asui came up with an algorithm of 4 moves which when you put them into a cube, you can do things like quick solves and bag solves, and that was all Takemiz Asui, right? And then what happened is a little bit after that, Stephen Brundridge came up with Cube 3. And Cube 3 was one of the biggest releases of the year. And what Stephen did is he took Takemiz Asui's algorithm that we used to do a lot of the routines, came up with his own variation, and then put a project together with a whole bunch of moves, whole bunch of applications. There were 2 parts to it. The first part was how to solve a cube, because really, when you're doing cube magic, you need to learn how to solve a cube first of all.
It said you don't need to know how to solve a cube on one of the other things. You're just messing around with it. Like, you just accidentally just mix it up, and you're like, I'm going to need to know how to solve this now.
Yeah, exactly. So Cube 3, he taught you how to solve a cube, and then after he taught you how to solve a cube, he taught you a whole bunch of routines. Now, Stephen Brundridge then went on to apologise because the moves that he actually put on Cube 3 were really too similar to Takemiz Asui. He did put some really cool original routines on there as well. So, for example, the toss-up solve that you do, that was all based on... That's Stephen Brundridge. That throw-up solve that you do. Even though we're not reviewing Cube 3, yeah, the toss-up solve, which is a really cool move. This is the toss-up solve. If you don't know it, you can learn it from Cube 3. There you go. And there's the rolling solve and a whole bunch of different stuff. I will teach it you. But the point,
you just like
you're kind of rolling it. It's a slow motion solve, and as you do it,
I know another one where you just like shake it and it starts to solve.
Yeah, that's another one. So the point is, Cube 3 came out, right, and it was a fantastic project. What we have here is, first of all, he's taken Takemiz Asui's algorithm, which then Stephen Brundridge put his own version out, and he's basically put exactly the same version of that together and called it the arrow solve. And all of the routines are based off that arrow solve. Pretty much everything other than at the end, is based on the arrow solve. And he's put routines together using that arrow solve. But really, there's nothing original in there at all. Or even though there is a little bit of originality, kind of, what the problem is, it's there's not any new techniques or anything like that. I mean, the arrow solve, what he calls the arrow solve, is basically just Takamiz's mix, just done in a slightly different way.
Is that the prediction for him?
No, that's something else. Don't worry about that. Now, he's got a bit, and I'll give you a few examples. So he's got a routine in there with three pictures of cubes, and that's very much based on cube cards by Kev G. No, it's not. That's very much based on cube cards by Kev G, again, without credit. There's just nothing new and nothing original. And he's tried to incorporate mobile phones and smartphones into a lot of his presentations. And the problem with it is, it's just kind of a little bit boring. So he's got these live performances to one spectator in a kitchen. Like, to give you an example, one of the routines, right? Just one of the routines, he turns his back on the spectator for like what must be about a minute, and just does something with the cube. But like you just watch the live performance, and this woman is just sitting there, bored senseless, while he's got his back turned to her, just doing something with a Rubik's Cube. Even the routine that you're about to perform at the minute, which is one of the routines on the project, it's kind of a bit of a dull way of doing a cube match. In fact, why don't we get you to perform that? Because I know you don't like it. I know you learned it because you wanted to show it. It's a thing with dice and a phone and a Rubik's Cube, but it's not really that great, is it, really?
Yeah, do they? I don't think they provide dice, and that's why we needed to get our own dice. But you can't, I think it was on the thing, it said invisible dice.
Yeah, well, why don't you perform it, first of all? We'll get Ryland to perform it.
Dice, though.
We'll get Ryland to perform it, and then we can wrap this whole review up.
Yeah. Ready?
Yes, Ryan?
I have 3 dice here.
I see that, yes.
Red, blue, and white.
Yes.
Okay. Now I also have this really cool speed cube,
Okay.
which is very fast. Like, I usually like turn it all the way around, like see how fast it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where it went?
Where?
I showed you it.
Oh yeah,
and
all
it went
the
all
way
the way
around.
around.
Yeah.
It literally went all the way. I just didn't do it then, but it went all the way, didn't it?
Yes.
Now what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get you to roll those 3 dice.
Roll the 3 dice.
Yes.
Okay. Done.
Okay, so what are the numbers?
6, 5, and 4.
6, 5, and 4. Now we're going to add those up, so 15.
15, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so you're going to count to 15, and I'm going to mix it behind my head for 16 seconds.
Why are you 16 when it's 15?
I'm in 15, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. So are you ready?
Yeah, you count.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
There. Now, have you got your phone?
Yep. Got it here.
I want you to take a picture of that cube.
Take a picture of the cube.
Yes.
I can do that.
Got 3 sides in.
Done.
So that's normal. That's a normal phone.
Yes, it's a normal phone. Yes.
It's Mommy's phone. Is it normal, Mommy? It's your phone. Yeah. It's
Yes.
normal. Okay. So so I'm going to memorise this. I'm going to try to solve it. How long you roll it again.
Roll the dice.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to solve it that fast.
5, 13.
13. Okay.
So you got 13 seconds to solve that cube.
Yeah. Okay.
Behind your back.
Yeah.
Without looking.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Done.
What? Cool.
Okay. Now I want you to roll it one more time. Last time.
Oh, you mean dice. 10 seconds.
Okay, so I'm gonna. You know that pattern I memorised?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make that pattern.
Without looking.
Yeah, without looking.
Behind your head.
Yeah.
In 10 seconds.
Yeah.
No way.
Okay. Ready.
1,
Go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, how do you know? Oh, took a picture. Right, okay, let's have a look. Hang on, let me just unlock it. Right, there we go. And there's the picture. Let's have a look. It's that way. Look at that. It is an absolute, don't know whether you guys can see that, but this is an absolute perfect match. Look at that. Amazing. So did you like that routine that you just performed? I mean, you did it well, but I mean,
really.
what? It's kind of a little bit dull, isn't it? It's kind of like, okay, so what we're going to do first of all is you're going to roll some dice. Now I'm going to mix it up behind my back for X amount of seconds. Now I'm going to take a picture of it. Now I'm going to solve it. Now I'm going to go back. It's just kind of very convoluted to get what you can do the same thing with a picture and a you know, sort of timing force. He's got this thing with one side solving, and he says, "Oh, this is a great concept. One side solve." Well, Stephen Brundridge did the one side solve, and Carl Hein and Cube FX had some fantastic concepts with that.
Wait, is that the one where you shake it and it starts to solve?
No, different thing. So really, there's nothing really that new on here. The routines are very uninspiring. There's nothing really interesting. What he's done is he's taken what he calls the arrow solve, which is really, I mean, if you're doing the Stephen Brundridge version, it looks like this. It's the concept of apparently mixing up a cube like that, and then being in a situation where you can solve it with one hand or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Yeah, well, the arrow solve is basically that, and all the routines are based around the arrow solve, and it's the sort of routines that you kind of think when you first learn how to do cube magic and you understand the techniques, you go, oh, okay, I can do that, I could do that, I could do that. I'll give you one more example. So he's got this thing with a mobile phone, and he's got a gallery with loads of different pictures of mixed up cubes. And then what he does is he gets the spectator to, he takes a solved cube and puts it behind the spectator's back. Once it's behind the spectator's back, he then has somebody else apparently have a look at a picture in the gallery, and then the picture that they pick matches the cube that's now been brought out from behind their back and is now in a mixed up sort of situation. And it's just flawed for so many different reasons. The first reason is the method he uses to force the cube in the gallery on the phone is by using a pack of cards. He brings out a deck of cards and he's like, right, okay, you're going to pick 2 cards and we're going to add those together, and that number is going to be the amount of pictures down. And it's kind of like, there's better ways to force a picture in an album on a phone than bringing a pack of cards in for no reason other than to force that number. It becomes very convoluted. It's like, right, now I've got a deck of cards, and I've also got a Rubik's Cube, I've also got a phone, and it just becomes really convoluted. And there's a couple of moments where he puts the cube behind somebody's back and he tells them to concentrate, and he brings it back out, and it's either solved or it's mixed up. And I just think that that's kind of a bit rubbish as well. It's kind of like, okay, you've shown that you can very quickly solve this cube, so you're going behind somebody's back. So, for example, it would look like this. It would look like this. So, you know, I'm gonna put this behind your back, Ryland. If you can hold it behind your back for me, put your hands behind your back. There you go. Hold on to that. Very good. Okay, concentrate. Now bring it back out again. And look, now it's mixed up, and it's kind of like, well, you've shown how quick you are at solving a cube. So it makes sense that you could mix up a cube very, very quickly as you put it behind their back. They're not going to think that it's magically changing behind their back. And if you are going to go down that route, the best way to do it is to go through The Solution by Michael Murray.
I could basically hear that. Just listen to this.
Yeah, you can. That's the point. Yeah, right. If you're going to do something behind the spectator's back, I would do The Solution by Michael Murray. And to be honest, what he's presenting on here comes very close to The Solution by Michael Murray several times, but doesn't actually, it's not completely there, but it really should be credited, but it's not. But then again, this is a whole collection of routines using a move that isn't really his own. I don't know. I've gone through too much. We've spent too long talking about this. I'm not going to do any of the tricks on this project. I think they're very underwhelming. You know, like when have you ever met people at a magic convention? This happens to me a lot. I meet magicians and they go, oh, I don't really like Rubik's Cube magic. And then I show them something and they go, oh, I like that. And it's because I've made an effort to make Rubik's Cube magic interesting. But there's a lot of magicians out there that learn a cube routine and they can kind of make it a bit boring. I think this is the sort of material that would make other magicians look at it and go, I don't do cube magic for this reason. It's just uninspiring, it's unoriginal, and it's just not impressive. And if you want a good speed cube, buy it for the speed cube.
Yeah, and I am keeping it.
I know you are keeping it.
Nice
But in terms of the actual project, and you have to kind of grade it on the whole thing, not just on the quality of the cube, I'm going to give it 15%. I think it's terrible. What about you?
Same.
15%?
Yeah.
15% from Ryland, 15% from me. It's not a very good project. Let's move on. Okay, so next up we have one of our favourite magicians, Roddy McGhie. Roddy McGhie from Scotland, and this is TNT by Roddy McGhie and Penguin Magic, or
It's
P3.
got bomb on the front.
It has got dynamite on the front, and right, what TNT is it's basically a very strange torn and restored card. So the premise of the trick is that you have somebody pick a card, and you explain that sometimes people sign the card on the back and it's a nightmare, but as a magician you've got a solution to how to fix this. And then you tear the centre out the card, and you then take the card and you put the centre back in, and it restores, and you give it them as a souvenir. That's what it is, and it comes with a whole bunch of cards because this is designed to be given away as a souvenir. So the whole idea of this is that you would do it and you would give them the card as a souvenir, and it is
here.
a very...
I'm not showing what it's like, but I've still got mine here.
Yeah, you're going to keep it forever, aren't you? Right. Yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you that before I show you my performance, I'm going to point out that there's two... First of all, I really like the premise. I really like the premise. I love the hook line about having somebody...
and it is a very cool card.
And it is a really cool card. So I love the premise. I love the hook. I love the whole idea of saying to people, I hate it when people sign cards on the back, and you'll see that premise in a minute. I love all of that. And I love the idea of restoring the card with the centre reversed round. I think this is an incredibly cool giveaway. And Penguin have put together refill packs that make it cheap enough. However, there is a flaw with this product. And I have to be completely honest. I'm going to talk about the flaw, then I'm going to explain how I think it's not a problem. So the flaw is there's two methods for doing this trick. Now, I'm going to talk about both methods because I think they're both terrible for different reasons. The first way of doing it is what you see in the trailer, which is somebody tears out the thing, they put it there, you do this, and then you just rub and you restore it and you give the card out. Okay, that's the first method to do it. The problem with that method is in order to do it, you have to have something stuck to your hand from the very beginning of the presentation.
Luckily, you found a way to get out of that.
Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. But you have to have something stuck to your hand, specifically to your finger. So for me, that is immediately puts this into, this is absolutely not commercial. Because in order to get into this routine, you would have to take that thing, stick it to your finger. It's going to impact any other routine that you do. So when you're finished, you're going to have to unstick it and put it into the pocket. The problem is with how they teach you to make this gimmick up that stick to your finger, once you put it into your pocket, you're not going to be able to put it onto your finger again, which means that you're going to have to make an entire new one. But the problem is it uses a special something that you get in the set, and that special something is probably going to get lost. It's the sort of thing that could very easily get lost. So when you ditch it in your pocket to go into another routine, when you go into your pocket, there's a very good chance it's disappeared, in which case you're never going to be able to perform this handling again. This is really uncommercial. This handling is very uncommercial. If you were doing a one-off performance and you were somebody like David Blaine and you were going up to somebody and doing a one-off performance and you had this all set up beforehand, that's fine. But for somebody who's out performing to their friends or their family, or in a gig or a walk-around situation or a strolling thing, which is where you really want to perform this, it's not good. Now, the second method that they talk about is slightly better. The whole idea with this is you visibly throw the center that you've torn out onto the card, and when you do, you visibly see it there, and then you give it out. Now, there's another problem with this handling, and I want to explain this because this is really important, because both handlings aren't great. The second problem is, in order to make the second method work, you have to create a gimmicked card. Now, it doesn't take long to make the gimmick card, but it is going to take you the best part of about a minute, maybe a minute and a half. And the gimmicked card is actually the card what I'm trying to say here is the gimmick card is the card that you actually tear the piece out of.
Yeah.
So you're destroying the gimmick every single time.
Yeah.
So in order to do this 10 times in a night, you're going to have to make 10 gimmicked cards, which are made by taking some scrap cards and cutting something out and doing some pasting and some cutting and stuff. So it's going to take ages. Now, is it worth it, to spend maybe an hour to make 10 gimmicks so that you're set up for one night? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think it is. But then there's other problems with this particular handling. And the first problem is it's overly procedural. Can you please stop messing around with that? Honestly, it's driving me up the wall. So I'm trying to explain something really important. You're just doing this. So the first, I have to take stuff off him all the time. He's a fiddler. It really is. Fiddle, you fiddle. Right.
So
yeah, okay, I do.
You mess with stuff at the moment going.
Yeah, it's true. So can I explain this? Because this is a really important point. So you destroy the gimmick every single time that you do it.
Yeah.
But also, because the gimmick is actually on the card that you tear, you can't be very free with that card. So when you force that card at the beginning, you can't let them look at it, you can't let them examine it, you can't let them do anything like that. And also, because it's prepared and it's gimmicked, when you're tearing the centre out, the angles then become really naff because you've got this prepared card that you're using to tear the cord, and then you have to be very careful when you're tearing the center out because you don't want to flash the fact that it's a gimmick, right?
Yeah.
And then let's just say that the angle thing isn't an issue, and let's just say the fact that it's going to take you forever to prepare the cards that you're using, that's not an issue. The handling is very procedural. You have to do an awful lot, which I think is counterproductive. And then you've got this really weird position where the card is like back jogged off the deck, like 3/4 of the length, in order to do this this flash restoration. It's a very awkward position, and even when Nick Locopo is explaining this, and he does a great job of explaining, by the way. Nick is amazing as far as I'm concerned. He even gets it wrong like a couple of times during the actual explanation, because what you have to do in order for this method to work is quite difficult. You've got to you're holding the deck here, you've got the piece here, you've got to activate the gimmick, you've got to throw this into a particular place. It's all very awkward. And even if all of that wasn't an issue, the issue then becomes that when you've done this restoration, you can't hand the card out straight away. You then have to do a move before you can hand it out. And my attitude is that part is so visual, you want to immediately be able to hand it out, and you can't. So both methods, even though the tutorial is delivered well by Roddy and Nick, and even though the trick itself looks really good, and even though the concept is really good, I think it's massively flawed. And both methods for doing this, I think, are impractical, not commercial, and I think that there's massive flaws in both versions. Having said all of that, I sat down with this for quite a while because I really love the method, and I came up with a way of doing it that suits me, where there's absolutely no preparation. I just have to take one of the cards that you get in the refills, throw it on top of the deck along with another card, another gimmick card, which you get as part of the thing. Just throw that on top of the deck, and then I'm good to go. So I can have those two cards prepped in my pocket, and I can palm them and add them onto a regular deck at any point that I want to. And what I've done, I've incorporated the box into the presentation. That means that immediately, once I've done the restoration, everything, so when you have the card picked at the beginning, you can have it examined. When you're signing the card at the beginning, it's all examinable. You then doing the tear, and when you're doing the tear, they can watch from every angle because the card's not prepared. There's nothing on your fingers. You can then put the card back on top of the deck. You can then iron it using the box, and immediately they can take that card off at that point. You can give it them. There's no switch as soon as you've restored it. And the nice thing is you can show both sides of the box. You can do the iron. You can show both sides of the box and give the box off to examine. They get the card, they can examine that, and immediately you can examine the rest of the deck as well.
Yeah.
So it's much better in my opinion. I'm going to do a performance of it. I know I've talked an awful lot, but I really wanted to get this across. This is a really important point. So let's have a look at a performance of how I plan on doing this, and then we'll wrap this review up.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I'm going to show you something with a pack of playing cards. I know we were talking about this earlier on. I'm going to talk to you about the most annoying thing that can happen to a magician that does card tricks.
They sign it on the back.
They sign it on the back.
I used to just throw the card away and start again.
Did you? Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's our fault because what happens is you have someone pick a card and you say
away.
sign the card. You're doing something else, and when you look back, they don't know they're meant to sign it on the face, but it can happen quite a lot.
Yeah.
And like you, I used to just take the card and throw it away and go, no, not that one, grab a different one. But I figured out another way of doing it right.
What?
I figured out a way of fixing this. Do you want to know?
Yes, I will.
Okay, I'll show you. It's very simple, and now you know you're going to be doing this forevermore. Just say stop.
Stop.
Okay, let's just say that you're not a magician and you're a spectator and you've just picked a card. You've said stop and you've got the Jack of Hearts, okay?
Yeah.
So I say to you, can you sign the card? And you've just gone and put your initials on the back of the card. And I don't realise. And when I turn back, I look and I'm like, oh, I signed the back of the card. How annoying is that? This is the point where you'd normally throw this card away, right?
Yes.
Let me show you what to do. What you've got to do is you've got to fold the card in half, okay?
Yeah.
You've got to make sure it's folded in just the right spot. You want to get it exactly halfway. That's important. That's step number one. Get it folded so it's exactly halfway, because that's going to allow you to get to the centre of the card. Hands off the table, let me show you. What you're then going to do, and you've got to be very careful about this, but you're then going to tear out the circle in the middle of the card, right? Okay. You're just going to tear out the circle. You've got to do this nice and slowly. Make sure you've got a nice, good circle there. There you go, just like that. So you've now got this little piece here, and you've got this. And now you don't have to worry. Now you don't have to worry about them signing the back because there's no signature on the back anymore. What do you think of my idea?
Well,
it's good, isn't it?
There's no signature.
There's no signature, exactly. I mean, there is one small problem with this method. Can you see what the problem is?
There's a hole in the card.
There's a hole in the card, so you might think, well, that's not very good, Craig. But no, I've got a solution. You actually just iron out the circle with the box, which I know sounds ridiculous, but let me show you what I mean. Look, first of all, make sure there's nothing inside the box. Make sure there's no wires, no magnets, no trapdoors, no secret compartments.
Don't have anything metal, so I can't check if there's metal.
Does it feel just cardboardy?
Yes, it's very cardboard.
It's okay.
Yes,
Okay,
I made
good.
a little tear in it, so it's cardboard.
It's all. Thank you for tearing my card box. I appreciate that. So we're going to put this right here, like this. Now you can kind of tell that's got a hole in it, right?
You're going to put that in there.
Well, put it in, but let's try something really weird.
This.
Put it in face up. Like that. That's it. Put it in that way. Do you know why you want to put it in that way?
Why?
If I kept that moving, that kind of looks like a card that's kind of got this bit upside down, doesn't it? It kind of looks like that. Obviously, it's not. But if I use this, remember I said I was going to use it like an iron? If I use this like an iron, what I can do...
No.
is I can actually
No.
Yeah, I can actually check this out. Look, I can iron that. There it is. There's the signed piece. No. It's now ironed into the card. And my friend, you can examine everything, and I'll even let you keep that as a souvenir.
What?
So there you go. That's my handling. Now I've sacrificed one element in that I'm bringing I'm bringing the card box in, but the card box can be showed. The card box can be examined at the beginning. You then make a big deal of saying there's nothing in the card box. You can then show the card box both sides. You do the iron. You can then give the card box off. And as another bonus, you don't even need a table now, and everything's examinable at the end. Have you got any questions?
Is this easy?
Yeah, the way that I'm doing it, it's incredibly easy. There's nothing difficult, no palming. It's a riffle force and that's it. You could do it immediately. Any other questions? No table required.
No. Okay, that was just about that.
So I'll throw that one in. With my handling, anyway.
Yeah.
No angles. I'm just helping here.
Is it good for parlour?
Yeah, you know what, I think so. It's quite visual, that moment right there. I think it would work for parlour. You wouldn't want to do it on stage. I think it's selling
Close
point.
up?
Yeah, its selling point is close up, strolling, walk around, table magic, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a very long review. It's a very long review. The first time Ryland saw this, he didn't watch the tutorial initially. The first time he saw it was when I kind of put together my handling. And what did you think of it, honestly?
Yeah,
You were
I
like,
thought it was pretty good.
yeah, it's really strong. And the souvenir that you give away, that's a killer souvenir. That really is. Like, I'm getting a few fill packs of this. I am definitely doing this. I think this is really good.
I get your initials.
I like the hook as well. I like the hook. I've got other ideas as well with this in terms of what you can put
My
in here
question
instead
is,
of.
why is it called TNT?
I have no idea. Ask Roddy. No idea. But here's the thing. I'm going over to Penguin again in a couple of weeks' time, and I've already spoken to Sean Dunn, and they're going to film my handling of this, and they're going to add it to the project. So anyone who's got this, if you like my handling, this is how I plan on performing it. If you like my handling, that will be dropped into your account automatically. And anyone who buys this, my handling will be there as well. By the time you watch this, I think I will be at Penguin, and the first thing we're doing is we're filming this, and we're going to put it into people's accounts straight away. Once it's edited. I would have given this about 60%, even though I love Roddy to bits, and I love the presentation, and I love the hook, and I love the trick, and I love the giveaway, and I love everything about it. Honestly, the methods were very substandard. However, I found a way to make it work for me. I'm giving this 90% because I wouldn't normally give it 90% based on one of my handlings, but as Penguin are actually putting my handling on the project for everyone to see, I think it makes it a lot better. This is the way I plan on doing it. This makes it work for me. This makes it work for the environment in which I perform in. So I'm going to give it 90%. I love it. I'm definitely going to do this. What about you?
Yeah.
How many? You told me you wanted this to be Trick of the Week.
Yeah.
You want this to be Trick of the Week?
Yeah.
So what are you giving it?
99.
99% from Ryland. Trick of the Week for Ryland. Trick of the Week for me. 99% from Ryland. 90% from me. It's really good. This moment here when you give this card out, it's great.
And the next trick we have is Presto Printo by Darryl.
Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But Murphy's are releasing slowly all of his old tricks. And this is something that came out many, 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 many years ago. Presto Printo, part of the Murphy's legacy line for Darryl, the magician's magician. And this is, in my opinion, one of Darryl's best tricks. Now, obviously, there's versions of this out there. Josh J has got a version. Dominic Divier had his printing routine. There's lots of different versions out there. I still think from a practicality point of view, Presto Printo is one of the best. And Ryland has stolen this already. He desperately wants to do this in his residency. If you don't know what this is, it's a really cool way of bringing out a whole bunch of blank cards, laying them out on the table, having someone pick a card, and then you slowly print all of the cards to match the card they've printed. It's a little bit like wild card. Yeah, it's a little bit like wild card, but the printing is done in a weird way. Each card gets crazier with each print. In fact, should we just get you to perform it?
Yes.
He loves this so much. You've already done it on your Instagram channel, haven't you?
Yeah, I might have.
Yeah, you definitely have. So let me just get Ryland to perform this for you. If you haven't seen it before, this trick is super commercial.
Daddy?
Yeah?
I have some blank cards here.
I see that, yes.
Oh, gosh.
It's okay, don't worry, I'll cut it out. Keep going.
Right then.
Hang on.
Daddy?
Yeah?
I have some playing cards here.
I see this. They've got nothing on them.
Yeah, they've got nothing on them, just blank.
I see this. There's nothing on either side.
Snuck out of the factory.
Okay.
Before they've been printed.
Right, fair enough.
Okay, so I'm going to take 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
Put them there.
Okay.
So I'm going to take 4.
Mm-hmm.
Put 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there.
Okay.
And I'm going to take these 4. I'm going to take 4 from here as well.
Okay. 2, 3, 4. All right, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put these as well. There, 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 and there.
What about that one?
Now you've got a spare blank card. This is what we're going to use to make you pick a card.
Okay.
Okay, so I want you to put it anywhere.
Are they all different? I know you.
If you have to check, then yes.
Okay, they're all different. I'm happy with that.
All
okay.
different. Okay?
Okay.
Anywhere in the middle.
Anywhere?
Yeah.
Right there.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sure you want it right there. Now,
yes.
This is blank on both sides, yeah?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yeah. Blank on both sides. Now, do you want to look at the cards you picked?
Okay, yeah, we'll do. Yeah.
Okay, so we got the 10 of spades here.
Okay, I'm happy with that card. Yeah.
You like it?
Yep, I like that card.
Okay. Now I'm going to use this card to do some cool stuff.
To do some cool stuff?
Yeah, look. First, we'll do the
Yeah,
back.
do you want me to move those out your way? Would that help?
We'll do the back. This card can print things.
What do you mean?
Look, we'll start with the back. That's the back done.
What? That's cool.
Look. Next, we'll do the face. Obviously, this is going to be a mirror image. So obviously, that. It's going to match up with that. But yeah, it's still a mirror image.
You printed a mirror image of the 10?
Yes. And put the normal 10 there. Now we're going to use this as a template now. Look, so now we can print the proper 10 like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, look, you can print 2 things at once. Look, you print the back.
Yeah.
This is my favourite part. Look, you print the back, print this part as well. Now we've got...
That's so cool.
Look, you can print corners when you want to. Look, you can print corners like, I want to print here this time. Print corner.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, look. We use the template to... We'll do this time. You got to be careful to make sure it dries, or you can just smudge it like that.
What?
Yeah. Oh, you can do... If you don't let it dry, you can do some cool stuff like this.
No way.
Yeah. Oh, and this is my favourite. This one's my favourite. Look. Knock it to the bottom. Crazy, right?
That's mad. That's really cool. So that was a really good performance, right? I love the fact that all of the cards print in such a weird way. It's cool, isn't it?
It's first you do the back, which is just a normal back. Then you do the mirror image. So obviously it has to be a mirror image because of how you're printing it. Then you use the mirror image as a template to print something else. And then what you do is you use the template to print so it looks normal. So it's like a 10 with a blank back. And then what you do with the fourth one is you get the back. You get the one you started with. And then you get the template. Yeah. And then you get and it just looks like the cards are over there.
Yeah, it looks like the back and the front are printed. Yeah. Then you have the corner prints.
Yeah. Should I go get the cards?
No, they've just seen the performance, so it's cool. It's cool. But the last 3 are my favourites, which are your favourites as well. The one where you smudge it.
Yeah, smudge, spin it, and then knock all of them to the bottom.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really, really cool. Yeah. Now, some people have said to me in the past, oh, you need a table to do this. But you don't. You can actually do it. As long as you've got some good... I've seen you do this without a table. As long as you have good audience management... you can do it by giving people cards. So like Ryland put the first row 4 down and then the second row 4 down. Yeah, well that's what I mean. You need good audience management. So you can say to somebody, hold your hand out for me. We're going to take these 4 and put these in your hand. You hold your hand out for me. I'm going to put these 4 in your hand and you can have this card. You're going to use it to pick a card. Oh, 10 of spades. Let's start with yours. And you just take the cards off them one at a time and print them and put them in their hand. Yeah. Because when the cards are printed, they're completely examinable. So as long as your audience management is good, you can get away with absolutely using that.
Is all of them 10 of spades?
Yeah. It's all the 10 of spades. But
I guess the 10 does look cool with the back.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that the 10's done. But yeah, I mean that's it. I mean Darryl, the majority of the tutorial is Darryl. And what you just saw was the main handling on the routine. However, Darryl goes through a whole bunch of different moves and ideas and concepts that you can plug into the routine as well. And then Javier from Murphy's Magic, who in my opinion is just incredible when it comes to teaching, he goes through a couple of ideas of his own as well, so you don't have to turn out over packets and so on and so forth. It's about a half an hour tutorial. That's all it needs to be. It's relatively easy to do. The way that Ryland did it, it's just a frustration count. I mean, you got this almost immediately, didn't you? Yeah. It was just remembering the setup. Yeah. It's an instant reset as well, isn't it? Like as soon as you're finished, you just gather up all of the cards and it's instantly reset. Yeah. Completely examinable, instant reset, no table required, easy to do, really cool looking trick, really visual, involves all the audience. I mean, what's not to love? What are you giving this, Ryan?
I'm going to give it, I actually want this to be Trick of the Week now.
You've changed your mind halfway through it. Okay, this can be Trick of the Week if you want it to be, Ryan. So what are you giving it? 100% from Ryland. I'm going to give this 98%.
This is definitely going in my residency.
This is going in your close-up set. 100% from Ryland. I've been doing Presto Printo for years.
Like I said, speed cube in my set too.
You're going to use this?
Yeah, I'm just going to do some tricks with that cube. That's really cool speed cube.
There you go. You're going to use the speed cube as well. I'm going to give this 98%. I think this is amazing. I've been using this for many, many years. Darryl is a legend, and this trick is really good. If you haven't got it, pick it up. It's one of the best packet tricks out there. Okay, so the final product we have today is Eureka. The Book of Many Animations by Marcus Cruz, who we have been very unimpressed with during the course of filming these review shows. He was the guy that made the can thing with the can stuck to the arm, which was terrible. He's the guy that did the milk thing with the milk cartons that you ripped up. He's the guy that did the smiley face that was terrible, toxic or whatever it was.
Toxic smile.
Yeah, everything that Mario has brought out has been nothing short of dire. What we have here,
It's not that good.
what we have here is Eureka, which is probably the best thing he's brought out, but it is massively flawed for a few different reasons.
It's still quite bad.
It's still more than quite bad. What it is it's his take on the classic colouring book, which Murphy's just brought out, that really cool colouring book you use with squiggles and everything in it, which was really good. 5 magical effects in one book. First of all, rabbits appear. Second of all, prediction of an Avenger. Third of all, sweet production. Fourth of all, making the wizard disappear. And fifth of all, ventriloquism routine. I'm going to perform this whole thing for you because I want to talk about why it's so flawed. And in order to talk about why it's so flawed, I think you need to see the routine.
If you can rip this off. Like, we ripped all the other ones up.
I don't know if it's worth ripping. I don't think it's that bad, but it's terrible.
If we do rip it up, I don't know how we're going to rip it up.
Let's first of all have a look at a performance. I'm going to give you a full performance of all 5 of those routines.
You can rip the pages out.
Okay, right, I have a book here, but this is not a normal book. This is a super mega magical book. And the reason it's a super mega magical book is 2 reasons. One, it says here, comedy and magic animation book. But 2, it's got this little magician on here. His name is Fred. Fred.
No.
You want to call him Charlie?
Yes.
Okay, his name is Charlie. Why are you calling him Charlie? Do you know a Charlie?
No.
Okay. Well, his name is Charlie, and he is very good at magic. Now, do you notice he's holding a top hat?
Top hat.
He's actually standing in the top hat, by the looks of it. Why is Charlie standing in the top hat? I've got no idea. Charlie's weird, but he is standing in a top hat. But this is built like a flick book. So you know what a flick book is. You've learned about it in school. This is a little flick book, so that each picture is slightly different in the book. So when you flick through, you can see that it looks like he pulls a rabbit out of his hat, because that's what proper magicians do. They pull rabbits out of hats.
Do they?
And yeah, they do. Yeah. Didn't you know that? That's what proper magicians do. They pull rabbits out of hats.
No.
And it's a flick book, right? So move your hands off the table. When you flick fast enough, it just looks like a little rabbit comes out of his hat, and he looks really magical. But the thing is, here's the thing: he really is Magic Charlie. So if I snap my fingers and I say the magic words abracadabra, in fact you can just say abracadabra.
Alakazam.
Oh yeah, of course, alakazam. We say the magic words alakazam. There you go. What happens is Charlie can really do magic, because there he is holding his rabbit, right? Because he took the rabbit out of the hat, yeah? But what happens...
backwards.
Yeah, because I'm going backwards, and even though it should just reverse in pulling the rabbit out of the hat, what's actually happening is he goes in and pulls out a second rabbit. But that's not good enough for Charlie. Now he's pulling out a third rabbit, because that's how Charlie rolls. He rolls like this. Now he's got 3 rabbits.
What?
Which is pretty cool, right? But that's not the only thing Charlie can do. Charlie's favourite thing in the whole world is superheroes. He's seen all of the Marvel films 100 times. He's seen all of the superheroes. And what we have here is pictures of superheroes. Let's test your superhero knowledge. Who's that?
Thor.
Very good.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Captain America. Hulk. And Iron Man.
Very good. So I'm going to mix these up a little bit. We'll just give them a mix up like this. I'm not very good at mixing tiny little cards, but we'll, as you can see... terrible at it, actually. What do you think of my shuffling ability? It's good, isn't it? We'll do a few mixes like that as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to deal them onto the table, and as I do, anytime you want to, just say stop.
Stop.
There? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Let's have a look at where you start. Spider-Man. You stopped on Spider-Man. If you'd stopped one later, it would have been Thor. If you'd stopped one before, it would have been Captain America, but it was Spider-Man.
I wanted Captain America, that's why I tried to stop.
Well, you got Spider-Man. It's not my fault.
I stopped on Captain America.
You got Spider-Man. You got Spider-Man. Deal with it. Deal with it. You know, life's not fair. I'll snap. You say Alakazam.
Alakazam.
Now, this is how good he is. This is how good he is at magic. Look, if I just flick through, what happens is there's his 3 rabbits that he made earlier. But now check this out. He reaches into his hat again, because that's how Charlie rolls, and he pulls out a card. But not just any card. He turns it around, and you're not going to believe this. He got Spider-Man.
And my God, was Captain America.
It was Spider-Man, shut up. But that's not the only thing that he can do. You see, sometimes he gets hungry. And when he gets hungry, he just snaps his fingers, say Alakazam. And then what happens is he throws the card away, Well, he actually puts it back in the hat. And because he's hungry, he reaches into his hat and he pulls out his favourite thing, which happens to be M&Ms. He loves peanut M&Ms. I mean, he's a fan. You could eat peanut M&Ms all day. Look at that. He's got all of his peanut M&Ms there. Now, obviously, Charlie is made out of paper. He's not a real guy. So because he's made out of paper, his M&Ms are made out of paper, which means I can reach in and I can pull out his paper M&Ms. Look at that. There's Charlie's paper M&Ms. We've got Charlie's paper M&Ms. We've got everything. Of course, the last thing that we need to do is make Charlie disappear. So one more time, Ryland, say the magic words.
Abracadabra.
I thought it was Alakazam. Whichever, doesn't really matter.
Alakazam.
And let's have a look now. In a puff of smoke.
I can't see it.
There's the smoke. Look, he's just starting. He's not vaping. It's a puff of smoke. In a puff.
Looks like
He's not vaping. It's not vaping. He's not smoking. It's a puff. He's doing magic.
Boy.
He's not smoking. He's not vaping. It's a puff of smoke. It's not vaping. It's a puff of smoke. Look, there he is. Look.
Naughty boy, you made too much smoke appear.
No, look, he's gone.
Naughty
That's it. His legs have gone. The whole part of it. Look, he's gone. There's nothing left. And you want to know where he's gone?
Yeah.
He got so annoyed with you saying that he was vaping. He ran around to the back of the book. There he is. And I suppose I should do this bit, even though there's bits of pants. Say bye, Charlie.
Bye,
Bye. There we go. This is dreadful. There we go. And that's the Comedy and Magic animation book by the best magician in the world. I can't even remember his name. What's his name? Him. Yeah. Let's just get on with the review. So first of all, you get a few things with this. First of all, you get these cards with superheroes on. We'll get back to that in a little bit. You get the book and you get the M&M thing, right? Now, let me explain the main reason why I'm very disappointed in this product. The main reason I'm disappointed in this product is because the entire tutorial on Murphy's was in a complete foreign language. Now, you get that from time to time, right? And that's not a problem. You know, there's production companies all over the world that are releasing products all over the world. And obviously, English is not going to be their native language. Not everybody can do what Henry Harrius does. And even though, you know, he's from...
Henry speaks in every
he speaks multiple languages. And obviously, all of his tutorials are in English. However, not everyone can be Henry. And that's absolutely fine. However, if you're going to put a 20-minute... If you're going to put a 20-minute tutorial together for a product, at least have subtitles at the bottom of the tutorial. There were no subtitles. Basically, it was him yammering on in a completely foreign language, which took me 3 times longer to learn how this trick was done, because I couldn't even follow what he was saying. This thing here, where he makes the, where he gets a superhero, right? There's 5 superhero cards, and they get a choice of they have to pick one of 2. They have to pick either the Hulk or they have to pick Spider-Man. And I watched this part about 50 times and I could not get what he was doing to make them pick one of those 2. I can see that these cards are cut in very strange ways, but I just couldn't work it out. I just couldn't work out why they're... I couldn't work out why they're cut.
Maybe it's because like a riffle thing?
Yeah, I tried that and it wouldn't work. I tried turning the 2 cards round that they ended up having to stop on, and I thought, well, maybe that would work, but it didn't. I just don't know. And I was able to work out the rest of the routine, maybe. There's bits where I've just had to take an educated guess based on having the prop in front of me and kind of having magical knowledge.
There's one thing you can know. And that's eventually because...
Well, we'll talk about that in 1 second. That's another major flaw. But the first problem is, this shouldn't have happened. From a quality control point of view, if you're going to put a product in Murphy's, which is a wholesale that wholesales all over the world, you have to have English as a subtitle in there. You have to put subtitles at the bottom. I mean, it's nice that he made the effort of actually including a tutorial, because let's be honest, in the last trick, it was just a sheet of instructions that I had to download, and that drove me up the wall because I just had to watch the trailer back and forth 100 times. This time, I didn't have to watch the trailer.
In the instructions, it tells you how to download it, and when you download it, it brings up a picture of the instructions.
Which looks basically like IKEA instructions. It just didn't make any sense. But at least with this... You know, they've got a tutorial, but I couldn't understand it. I couldn't follow it. I just had to basically make a series of educated guesses. This is a major problem from his point of view, from Marco Cruz's point of view, major problem there, but also a major problem from Murphy's point of view. I think that really they shouldn't be accepting people's submissions. They should say to somebody, yes, absolutely, you can sell your trick through us. However, we need the instructions to be accessible to people that speak English. Yeah, I think that just makes sense. Anyway, that's not the major problem. That's not the big problem. The second problem is the bit at the end where they sell as one of the 5 effects, which is ventriloquism. Basically, what you have on the back of the book, right, is you have the back of the book. It's not even cardboard. It's normal paper. It's not thick card. Is what I'm trying to say. It's basically glossy paper, right? It's just basic glossy paper. So you've got this last bit here, and you've got this mechanism inside that will make his mouth move up and down. And the whole idea is that you hold it here and you do that. Kids aren't stupid. This is a kid's trick. Kids aren't stupid, right? They're going to understand that you're putting your hand inside the book.
This trick is stupid.
I know, right? And the thing is, it's not easy to move that mouth up and down. It's an obvious action.
Yeah. I actually managed to make it a bit loose so I can do it a bit better.
You know,
this trick is so stupid, I'm going to punch my face.
I can't even believe that this is a selling point of the prop. Because first of all, it wouldn't fool a blind monkey. Kids would realise exactly what you're doing. Now, if you had some sort of thing down here that you could operate with your finger, like I've seen on other kids' props before, then maybe. But the fact is, this is just terrible. Now, maybe in the instructions, he goes through something that makes it much better, but I wouldn't know because I couldn't follow the instructions and it was a series of guesswork. And then you've got the actual trick itself. Now, the actual trick itself is okay. It's quite nice. It's quite nice. I showed this to Thea, who's 7. And when I did this, and I did the first thing. So we did the first thing first of all, and we show it to Flickbook because you got to get the kids to understand the concept that this is a Flickbook, and kids understand what Flickbooks are. You were like 4 when you learned how to do a Flickbook, so kids understand the concept of Flickbooks. Yeah. But then I showed it to Thea, who's got no magical knowledge at all, has she really? Like she hasn't got a clue.
How does that work?
I showed it to her, and she was like, "Oh, you're just flicking it backwards." Now, technically, if you flick it backwards, all that's going to happen is it's going in reverse. But to a kid, or at least to Thea, she was like, oh, you're flicking it backwards, as if she'd figured out the trick. Because just because you can't have one set of images flicking one way, one set of images flicking the other way, doesn't mean that that's fooling. And I think what they've tried to do here is Marcus has tried to think of every little possible thing that you can fit into a colouring book. And he's just ended up with something that's a bit of a convoluted mess, to be perfectly honest. I just don't think that it's very, very impressive. I think if you want to do a trick for kids where rabbits are appearing... Oh, what are you doing? Why are you ripping it? I do agree it's not very good and it is going in the bin. I mean, I'm not going to do it. Are you going to do this? I'm not going to do this. I just think it's a very convoluted mess. And it's another example... You know what? Rip it up. We're not going to do anything with it. It's another example of Marcus Cruz coming up with a series of things and just not caring about his customers. The fact that he doesn't even include English subtitles shows me he doesn't care about his customers. The whole thing... I know, what's that? What is that? Oh, it's the hat. It's the mouth. All right. So he's just printed the mouth on the back of one of these cards. That's all he's done. He's just printed a mouth on one of these cards and just stuck a... No wonder it doesn't go up and down very well. It's made... Oh, whatever. Look. It's substandard. The whole thing, this will not, I guarantee you, even if you like this, even if you're a kids entertainer and you like this concept, and honestly, this is nowhere near as good.
What's that?
I have no idea. It's just like a piece of plastic that is gaffer taped onto there. I mean, that's why it doesn't work. But even if you're a kids entertainer and you like this concept, and I can't imagine that many would, I don't think many kids entertainers would sacrifice the colouring book for this. Even if you were a kids entertainer that liked this concept, this is going to last 6.2 seconds. It's not made out of very high quality material. It's made out of low quality material. You throw this in a case, you do it a few times, it's going to get completely battered, and it's not cheap. It's not cheap. It's fairly expensive for what you're getting, which means that you're going to have to replace it constantly. At least...
Numbers?
That's ridiculous. at least with Murphy's version of the colouring book, at least with that version of the colouring book, it's very, well, first of all, it's really good. I actually really like the Murphy's colouring book. I think it's great. But the other problem with it, but it's, hang on, I'm talking. It's inexpensive. It's not very expensive, so if it does get battered up, you can just buy another one. What are you giving this, Rye? Because we need to wrap this up. 0%. It's getting 0% from Ryland. It's getting minus 1,000% from me.
Oh, I'm going to give it minus infinity cubes.
Minus infinity cubes from Ryland. Minus 1,000% from me. It's absolutely terrible. We're going to throw this in the bin now, and we're going to wrap this whole thing up.
And that's the review show in the bag. That's the review show in the bag. That's the review show in the bag with a really nice speed cube.
It is a really nice speed cube. Guys, thank you very much for joining us once again on the Craig and Ryland Review Show. Really, really appreciate you checking out the channel. Don't forget, if you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I'm going to be back again tomorrow on Thursday. Yeah, I'm here every day. Going to be back again Thursday with the shorts at 2 o'clock, 6 o'clock a live, 9 o'clock a magic stuff. Ryland will be back again next Wednesday. Don't forget, if you haven't followed Ryland on Instagram, please do so. Don't forget, if you haven't followed him on YouTube, please do so. And yeah, if you've got any particular products that you want us to review, let us know. We'll be back again next Wednesday. Thank you very much for checking us out. You're on over 3,000 followers on Instagram now. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. We'll see you again soon. I'm Craig.
I'm Ryland.
Take care. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye.